Any tips for effective cross-examination?
I think that the first thing when I think about cross-examining any witness, the first thing I think about is, what do I want to get out of this witness? What is my objective here? What is my case theory? And I think I always think quite carefully about what is my client's case and what is my case theory. Or if I'm prosecuting, of course, what is a prosecution case and what is our case theory? And how exactly does this witness fit into or not fit into that case theory? And I think quite quickly I narrow down the key topics and the key areas that I need to address with the witness that support my case theory and go against the other side's case theory. After that, after I initially kind of brainstorm those few points, you have to think quite carefully before you get down to really putting the questions together. Is again, like Robert said previously, your audience and your tribunal effectively. Witnesses come in all different shapes and sizes, different ages. So you can have youths as witnesses, children, vulnerable people with difficulties and disabilities, elderly people, people just middle-aged or young adults. You get the whole different range of spectrum. And so before you get on with really getting into your questions, you have to know, how is this person going to respond to those questions, and are my questions appropriate for that witness, and am I going about it the right way? And then I think I get down to thinking about the questions, but I generally try to keep it a bit more loose now, and I think it's something that you get better at as you get more experience. When I first started, it was all quite formulaic. The questions were already in my head. I had a good grasp exactly the phrasing of the question I was going to use. But I think as you get more experience, you just focus more on the topics effectively, like I talked about previously, and exactly what the end result of that topic should be. So at the end of me addressing this topic with this witness, I hope to get this answer out of it, that I can later on, if I cross-examine a different witness or in my closing speech. So I think you want to try to keep it as flexible as possible in that regard. And again, that slightly goes back to, I think, what Beth said at the start, when you should be listening to the witness. And that was also something which I've worked a great deal on over the last few years, is actually listening to what the witness is saying, as opposed to presuming you're going to get that answer because you've assumed it will go the way it goes. Sometimes you ask one question, you get exactly the answer you need, and you can just move straight on to the next topic. You don't have to bother with the other 10, 15 questions that you had prepared. So always be listening to the witness and staying alive to exactly what's being said, and then you can adapt your cross-examination as you go. I think that's important, is think of it as an adaptive process. It's a living, breathing thing, effectively, if you want to think of it that way. It's not a rigid structure and formula that you must have prepared well in advance of the cross-examination. Try to keep it as flexible and as workable as you can.
Great advice there, Jazz. That was quite a comprehensive answer there, so you've covered quite a lot. I don't know whether our other panelists have anything to add to that.
I did have one other point, which is that I think the tendency with cross-examination is to think, right, I need to challenge this witness. I'm challenging their account because I don't believe them and what they say doesn't help me. But actually, confrontational or challenge a witness, sometimes the witness that you're cross-examining can help you. They can give you an answer that you want. And Jazz touched on this in his response. Last week, I sat in on a murder trial, and there were 2 defendants, and it was really interesting to watch how the barristers moved between, at times, being challenging towards a witness, so saying, no, that's not right, this has actually happened, but at other times saying, yeah, that did happen, didn't it? My guy wasn't the one with the hammer, for example. And it's, again, thinking about what you want to get out of the witness, whether being cross with them in cross-examination is the way to do that, or actually can they just help you, because on that issue you've got the same goal as the witness.
Definitely great advice there. I think one other point to make it is, think about where you're going with that witness. Build up in stages, nice short questions, and building up to your point are normally the best way. There's often a temptation to try and throw everything in at once and raise about 5 points in one question with the witness, when it doesn't really help anyone. So keep the question short and simple. one point at a time, 1 point per question, and know when to stop. It can often happen where you ask one question too many, you get the wrong answer, and it blows your whole case to smithereens. So once you've got what you need, stop, get out.